Alright, so today I'm doing a deck profile. I played at a regional in Vermont the other day, and I was running Crusadias. We had 20 people there at the regional. We did 5 rounds, and then top 8. I went 3 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie, and I placed 5th in the top 8, running pure Crusadias, along with a couple of other cards, but it's pure Crusadias. So starting out with the deck profile, I run 3 Maximus. This is the card that you need to run 3 of. He's the big normal psychic effect type monster. Before you get into your big links and stuff like that. Next, I run 3 Crusadia Leonises. You want to run 3 of him as well. He's another one that works in tangent with Crusadia Maximus. And then after that, for the next Crusadia monster, I run 3 Crusadia Draco, just for his power to get the monster out of the graveyard in case you use up something really quick that you want back. And they all work together. Next that I run 3 of is Crusadia Arborea for her protection in the graveyard. And then after that, I run only 2 Reclusia. You don't really need to run a whole lot of him. You can even run him at 1. But he's the least used Crusadia monster. He's not the most useless, because none of them are useless really, but he is the least ran because with just his effect. That is it for my Crusadia cards for the monster wise anyway, that are in the main deck. Next, I run 3 Rescue Cat for his search power, and you'll see why more later on in the extra deck when I show you as to why I run 3 of him. In the main deck, I run 2 Effect Veiler. It's the only hand trap I have right now. I do side another Effect Veiler just in case, but right now it runs pretty decently with just having 2 in the deck. Eventually, once I am able to get an Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs, I will be running them mainly and siding in Effect Veilers. Next, I run 2 World Legacy World Crowns. I main deck 2 of them because they have a protection and they work well with Crusadia Equimax. In this deck also, you want to run Kaijus. I run 3 of them. Some people do run 4 Kaijus. I run 3, but I side the rest. So I have a wide variety of choices. And then for my other 2 monsters, and these also work in tangent with the Rescue Cat, I run an X-Saber Arabellum and Little Bambi. And you'll see why I run those guys once I get to the extra deck. So that's it for my monsters for the main deck. Next, for my spells, I run 2 Crusadia Revivals. I run 2 Twin Twisters. I run also 2 Called by the Graves. And the next card, I do run 2 of these, but a lot of people say to run 3. I only have the 2 right now. I plan on eventually getting a 3rd and swapping him out. I run 2 Slash Draws. I know it's kind of weird, but you do get a draw off of it. But if you do draw another Slash Draw, and with 3 you run a better chance, but with 2 right now, because I only have the 2, but it'll be a great effect damage card if you are able to get it off. I had to take out the Sky Striker engine because I don't have any engages, so I had to take out my Hornet drones. But for the Sky Striker stuff, I do run a Widow Anchor. Then I run a Raigeki for cleared field clearing. And then for bringing back monsters from the graveyard, I run a Monster Reborn and a World Legacy Succession. Most of the Crusadia monsters you can special summon from the hand, so I do run one Pinpoint Landing for the draw. With running Crusadias in this deck, you want to run an Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. I do run a Scapegoat. You'll see why more later on in the extra deck. And for the last spell card, I run a Crusadia Power. You can swap it out for like a Sky Striker Eagle Booster or anything like that, but Crusadia Power works with just Crusadias. For the traps, a lot of people run it very, very small on traps, but for the traps, I actually run a pretty decent amount, and it does work for me. With the new Crusadia Crawler, I run 2, just because for the search for the World Legacy stuff, if it is summoned to a point that a Link monster points to, I run 2 Solemn Strikes for the negation. I don't really run a Solemn Judgment because I don't want to lose a whole lot of life points, because with this deck being a first turn kill or an OTK deck, you don't lose a lot of life points unless your opponent is actually has a pretty good setup on their side of the field. Not a lot of people run this, but I run this just because of the getting 2 monsters back from the graveyard. With a lot of the monsters going to the graveyard, I run 2 World Legacy Landmarks. It's a good searcher for the Crawler, and it provides another World Legacy target in the deck. And I run 2 of them, and it actually works pretty decently. It's another way to bring monsters back from the graveyard. It gives a lot of work and everything like that, especially if you lose stuff early on that you need to get back. And next, I run 1 Mirror Force and run Crusadia Vanguard for the other target for when you search for Crusadia stuff. And that is it, mostly for the main deck. On to the extra deck. The extra deck, starting out with the fusions, I run 1 Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon. I'll show you the side deck in a little bit to show you the cards that I side in for that. Next, after that, for the Naturias, I run a Naturia Beast and a Naturia Barkion. Believe it or not, you'll go into Naturia Beast a lot quicker with this deck, but Naturia Barkion is also a good choice as well, because as long as you have a deck and as long as you have a graveyard, you'll get them out and you will get their effects off, and it locks down a lot of opponents. Like 2 of the decks that I faced yesterday, these guys were my saviors. They locked them down. They hated them. I loved them. Like, you basically, and that is why I run these 2 in the main deck. X-Saber Arabellum for Barkion and Valeraphon for Naturia Beast. They bring them out very, very easily, especially with the Rescue Cat. Then for the links, 1 Link Karibo. You can get them in off a Scapegoat. There's another card that I'll show you in a minute that you can get in off a Scapegoat as well, but you want to use a Link Karibo a lot of times. Sorry about that. We got one of our cats that we love, but had to get it out of there. Another one that I run, Underclock Taker. That one, mostly it's to get rid of attack power on an opponent's card, or because you can utilize it by whatever monster it points to. You can take that attack from that monster and then subtract it from an opponent's monster. Now for my Crusadia links, I run 3 Crusadia Magius. You need to run him at 3. There is no doubt about it. I was running him at 2 just for the tournament the other day. I bumped him back up to 3 for this deck profile because when I topped, if I had another Magius in my extra deck, I probably would have went a little bit further. But I was running him at 2. But running him at 3 is a must. There is no doubt about it. With the new Crusadia Link support, I do run 1 Spada. She's not bad, but she's not the greatest. But she's pretty much self-explanatory if you're able to look her up and everything like that. Another one, you can run him either at 2 or 3. With the new with Crusadia Spada coming out, I did bump him down to 2 because I did have him at 3 because I wanted to run her. And then after that, for the last Crusadia monster that I do run as a link, I run 2 Crusadia Equimaxes. You can run them. You have to run them at 2. You can run them at 3 if you want to, but the best I've seen so far and the best that I have tested so far is running him at 2. There's no doubt about it. You have to run him at 2. Running him at 3 is a little excessive, but you don't have to. But if you're going to run him at 3, then you want to run Regulex at 3. It's the quickest ways to get him out. And then for 2 other monsters that I do run, another scapegoat target, Firewall Dragon, is a scapegoat target with your Link 4. And then I just barely got this guy the other day. Tested him out. He did perfectly. Loved everything about him. He won me actually quite a few duels yesterday. Borrelsword Dragon. Perfect addition to the deck. Works out great. He's pretty much self-explanatory. It was amazing. Did everything and anything that he needed to do. And then for tokens, obviously the 4 different pictures of Scapegoat. I run 4, obviously, because of Scapegoat. Now for the side deck, I side in 3 Cyber Dragons. You can take out a Kaiju. You could take out a couple of other monsters. Like you could take out an Arborea, side 2 of them in. You get a better chance. But that's only when somebody wants to link lock you. If you're not facing a big deck that link locks you, you don't have to side him in. But he is a choice. I run 2 Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. That's only if I face a Crusadia deck that is the same as mine. And I will side her in for like an Effect Veiler and something else. The extra Effect Veiler in my side. And then a couple more World Legacy options. I have World Armor and World Legacy World Lance. World Lance I have in the side because you can send him from your hand to the graveyard and take 3,000 attack power from an opponent's monster. Helps out pretty good. I didn't see him a whole lot the other day. I saw World Crown more than I saw him, and because of the special summoning ability. And then 2 other options that I have for the Kaijus, I have Gamma Seal and Star Destroying. I don't really run the Spider so much, but those are the 5 that I like the most. An extra Crusadia Power, just in case, and another one that I do run 2 of that I can side in case I ever see any Gokis or anything that is pretty big on traps. I run 2 red reboots in my side deck that I can side in for. So that is my deck profile. Again, yesterday I went 3 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie. My 3 wins were against Lair of Darkness, 6 Samurais, and Dangers. In Danger and all of them is where I saw my Borrelsword the most. My 1 loss was against the Orcust. Those cards came out in the new Soul Fusion set. They were basically made to get rid of Crusadias and to be the power horses against Crusadias until Guard Dragons comes out, which they'll be coming out in February next year. And then my 1 tie was against Pendulum Magicians. And in the top 5, I went against Pendulum Magicians again. I did lose, but that's because I didn't have the extra Magius in my side deck. So, or in my extra deck, I mean, sorry about that. So but I was very happy with where I placed. I was very happy with the performance of my deck. And if you want to see any more deck profiles, just let me know. Thanks.